my kings, queens, and fellow non-binary leaders, and welcome back to Nerdy Nekama. Today, we're finally going to continue with the Pretend to Faint Challenge, Polyships edition. Oh my god, I cannot talk anymore. It's only 3 more parts. This one is for AsaNoyaUshiTen. I really hope you will enjoy it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you do. And now, let's go! So, yeah, mine was a bit too realistic for my taste. How so? Yeah, that sounds ominous. Excuse me? Holy shit, dude. I'm impressed. Impressed? I feel like someone should warn Asahi. Look, this wasn't the plan, okay? It happened on accident and I actually got a concussion. See what your challenges are doing to people, Atsumu? Excuse me, how's that my fault? Anyways, I nominate Noya to get next. Hell yeah! I'm with Shibayama. This sounds like a bad idea. Nah, I need to know how Ushijima intend to react to this. Oop. I mean, he has a valid point. I feel like you're silently judging me. Oh no, there is nothing silent about it. I am just judging you. But don't worry, I won't go crazy like Yamagata. I wouldn't want to actually send someone to the hospital. It was on accident. Noya's excitement was probably tangible from afar because the moment he entered their home, Tendo peeked around the corner, a curious look on his face. We've been dating for almost 2 years now, and I still don't know whether that look should spark excitement, or I should tell out Asahi to run before whatever you came out with kills him, probably via shock. The former libero laughed wholeheartedly at that, before taking off his shoes and walking up to the toddler. He swiftly took hold of his collar and pulled him down into a kiss. Don't worry, I intend to keep our scaredy cat alive for a little longer. Tendo chuckled in return and kissed him once more. Good. And you know, if you're up to something, you're required to tell me, as your partner in crime and romance. He laughed once more, while thinking to himself, not this time sadly. But Noya made a mental note to come up with a challenge soon that would involve 2 partners. The idea of planning a prank on their beloveds with Saturday was just all too appealing. Speaking of the devil, where are our gentle giants? Tendo's mischievous grin melted into something warmer, something softer. In the living room, Toshi just managed to get Sahi to rest a bit. You know how he gets when a project has him trapped. Noya nodded in confirmation, a slight frown setting in his brows. Well, he'd make sure his boyfriend wouldn't even think about overworking himself this evening anymore. No chance. It was just brainstorming dinner. Any ideas would be appreciated. I might be creative when it comes to chocolate, but other dishes are less interesting. You already know I like anything you make. I don't care what it is. Tendo sighed as they walked into the open kitchen and leaned over the grocery list again he was working on. I know you're not picky, but I need help deciding. I genuinely have no idea what to make today. It's... Let me then. He looked up surprised, as did Noya. Ushijima joined them in the kitchen and closed the distance between them with a few steps. He kissed Noya welcome home before settling next to Tendo by the counter, reading through the list. You worked hard today, and have been taking care of the food ever since we all arrived. Let me help. Again, the red-haired lips stretched into one of these warm smiles Noya only really saw in him when he was with them or engrossed in his work. What about Asahi? Did you leave him to rest alone? If you say it like that, it sounds like I need a babysitter. The designer let out a nervous chuckle. Tenlo only commented with an arched eyebrow. The way you sometimes tend to neglect your health when focused on your work, it surely wouldn't hurt. Asahi smiled sheepishly, but didn't try to argue against it, causing Tendo to sigh and Noya to chuckle at the exchange. He was glad they had Saturday and Wakatoshi now to look out for the former ace as well, but he got tunnel-visioned a lot when it came to his trips and couldn't always be there for him. Knowing that he wasn't the only one looking out for Asahi was reassuring. You didn't answer my question. Fine, if you insist, but only because my feet are killing me. I had to walk around way too much today. Ushijima frowned, checking on him more closely. You should rest then. If you're in pain... Tendo chuckled. Toshi, that was hyperbolic. I'm only a little exhausted, though laying down for a bit would be nice. Alright then. He grabbed Tendo's hand to guide him over to the couch when he remembered the challenge. He only had a few seconds to consider his circumstances and make a decision. They were all assembled at the moment. The opportunity was perfect in that regard, but he hadn't really prepared. Then again, if he didn't act right now, he'd have to wait until after Ushijima came back from the grocery shopping, maybe even until after dinner, until he'd get another chance. He pretended to stumble and let out a surprised gasp. Immediately, Tendo reached for his arm to stabilize him. You? Is everything okay? Yeah, I just felt a little lightheaded all of a sudden. He shook off Tendo's grip and pretended to proceed to the couch. Even without looking, he knew that the other eyed him with concern. He was counting on that. On his next step, he repeated the stumble, but this time leaned into it, fighting his own reflexes as he let himself fall to the ground and praying Tendo would catch him. To him, this was more like a trustful challenge at this point. Luckily, his trust in the other was warranted. He heard a yelp, and before he came even close to the ground, Tendo's arms were around his middle. Despite his smaller stature, the force had them both on the ground by the end of it, but much less impactful than if the red hair hadn't caught him. He seemed stunned for a moment as he held him. You? As if on cue, steps followed his voice, and soon Ushijima and Asahi were by their side. Saturday, is everything... He paused mid-sentence at the sight unraveling in front of him. Noya heard a shocked gasp as Asahi joined them as well, internally snickering that it had worked so well despite his lack of preparation. I don't know what happened. He just suddenly felt lightheaded and then passed out. Tendo's grip on him tightened slightly, and Noya could hear the tension in his voice as he did his best to remain calm. Yet aside from the rhythmic pattern of his breathing, the room remained silent. Toshi? Ushijima must have been overwhelmed by shock for a moment. It wasn't what Noya expected from his calm and usually rather collected boyfriend, and he felt a hint of worry blossoming in his chest. Asahi, yes, he would freeze, but Wakatoshi... Wakatoshi, please, I need your help. I'm not sure what... We need to put him in the recovery position. Lay him down slowly. Suddenly, Asahi's hands touched his shoulder and he gently instructed them on what to do next. They were shivering, but his voice was almost even. Noya was too stunned for a moment by the turn of events to react, but by the time Asahi dedicated Ushijima to call an ambulance, he forced himself to move. He couldn't let anyone get arrested for calling the emergency line in vain just because of a prank. He stirred and pretended to wake up. It was really difficult to take things slow. All he wanted to do when hearing the worry in their voices was to hug them as tightly as possible and promise that he was fine. A small grin spread on his face as he blinked up at them. Surprise! You! How are you feeling? Do you still feel lightheaded? Did you... He fought himself up despite Tendo's attempts to hold him down and slung his arms around his big bundle of anxiety. I'm fine, don't worry. No need to call an ambulance. He caught Oshijima's gaze over Asahi's shoulder and his heart twisted a little as he recognized the worry in them. I hate to burst your bubble, but you were out for minutes. We should still bring you to a hospital just to make sure. He turned around to the red-haired and smiled. That was just a challenge. Atsumu suggested it to get her boyfriend's reactions. The silence from before returned and he felt suddenly nervous. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, 2 stone arms wrapped around him and he was lifted into Oshijima's embrace. Nishinoya yelped in surprise before melting against the sturdy build of his boyfriend. It was calming to be held by him. Even someone as energetic as Noya was not immune to the soothing effects his warmth had on him. You're an idiot, you. He let out an offended huff, but didn't pull away. For Ushijima to call someone an idiot, he thought he'd never see the day. Tendo behind him chuckled at that, though playfully slapped him up the head as he walked past them. He's right. What did we get ourselves into when deciding to date you two? A lot. Asahi's voice was mixed with this nervous relief that was just all too familiar to the former race. Don't do that again. I was worried. Noya snuggled closer to him, burying his face against his neck as he heard the genuine worry in Oshijima's voice. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to worry you. It took what felt like hours until he was released from the hug and placed in Tendo's care, much to his protest. He wanted to make amends by helping them shopping, but was denied. Passing out is no joke. What if you get lightheaded again? I told you, it was a prank. Tendo ignored him and just pulled him closer to his chest. Don't worry, I'll make sure you sit still and relax, then you'll be better soon. He could hear the grin in Tendo's voice and knew every escape attempt was futile. Noya groaned but accepted his punishment begrudgingly. At least he got to snuggle with Satori and they weren't too mad at him. Though he wouldn't put it past Asahi to get mad once his anxiety settled. He gulped, quickly thinking over the other options to get back on his good side. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe and tell me whatever you thought about it in the comments. As well, please, if you want, tell me your favorite quote and or moment of this story under the pinned comment. It would help me out a lot to make better content for you. And if you have an idea for another challenge that I should do either with the poly ships or even the monogamous ships, put it in the request form. I would much appreciate it. A special thanks as always goes to my nerdy neckos. They help this channel out so much by supporting it, and they get cool stuff like early access in return. Thank you so much to every one of you. You make sure that I can put out content as frequently as I do. Here on my other social media, check me out there as well if you want. I'm most active on TikTok and here on YouTube, obviously, but occasionally also post on Instagram. And here is more content. Check that out if you like. And now I hope you all have a wonderful and amazing day. Bye everyone!